travelers. My name is Fantasma, and I'm joining Chibi and Vertec at the Golden Feather. Come on in, grab a seat, and let's share some tales of adventures.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Golden Feather Tavern, where your hosts, Chibi and Vertec, discuss Ashes of Creation and important topics spoken about within the Ashes community. At the tavern, we invite you, the viewer, and a special guest to pull up a chair, grab a pint, and join the conversation with us. Today is the 17th of January, 2026. We're on episode 248, calling this one a Fantasmic New Year. And the traveling bard joining us today is Fantasma. How are you, friends?
I'm good. I'm very good. Thank you for having me. I'm doing great.
It's the second part of the name, and it's Pelu. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
It's Fantasma Pelu. It means hairy ghost. For those who don't. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Which is also like his Discord username. So I was like, I understand now.
Yep.
So, Chibi, how are you doing tonight? What do we have on tap?
I'm doing great. We have a good amount of reviewing how the end of 2025 went and looking into what's in store for us in 2026 and just kind of touching base with the community on the thoughts of how Ashes of Creation is feeling now that it's launched on Steam. But I also wanted to put out there, for those of you that are new, Vertec and I have done this since about 2019, and we cover a lot of community topics from Ashes of Creation specifically for this podcast. And we would love if you have any thoughts or if you have any questions that you pop them right into the chat. This is a highly interactive podcast, why we like to do it live. And our guests are always welcome to interact as well. So feel free to ask questions and anything else. And I also want to say a huge huzzah, not only to Erwin for a 1-year subscription. Thank you so much. It's been a 1-year anniversary. And also to Oracle and Toast and Mr. Noobtastic. So huzzah to all of you and happy 2026.
Cheers.
That being said, the most important topic that we want to talk about is our guest, because another part of the Golden Feather Tavern's podcast is highlighting guest and community members throughout Ashes of Creation every month. So, Fantasma, one big question I had is, what got you into Ashes of Creation? Like, why Ashes out of all of it? Also, huzzah, Nuke.
Nuki.
I guess so I remember like watching some YouTube videos about Ashes of Creation. I didn't even know like it was a thing. I remember watching some streamers fight like a big dragon, and then I remember them showcasing like the weather effects in the game. And I remember one that blew my mind was they were chopping some trees. They were showing like the tree animation, and then the tree like fell down and it hit a rock. And I was like, there's no way that an MMO can do this. Like, this is not real. And I remember like when I saw the archetype trailer for Rogue, I was like, oh wait, this is kind of like my alley. This looks really good. And me coming from like playing a bunch of other MMOs, I was like, this looks really good. And I think that's the one that really sold me. I was like, okay, I gotta try this out. So yeah.
Makes sense. What in general draws you to MMORPGs? We mentioned, we had a little bit of a chat previously before we went live, and you mentioned, what you do outside of the gaming community. So like, why MMOs? Is it the fantasy? And if so, what about the fantasy?
So I guess you could say that it all kind of began a couple of years ago. Wow, I was trying to count the years and it's been a lot, but I remember my first experience with Final Fantasy 11. I think that was my first time of like knowing what an MMO was. And I remember just being blown away by like me moving a character, and then I was seeing people like running around. I was like, wait, those are all players? This isn't like NPCs? And that just kind of like blew my mind that you could just be in a place with hundreds of people playing a game, and mostly the sense of community, right? Like you had to like ask people like where to go, because there was like no, I mean, I didn't have access to Google back then, right? So you had to
Hmm.
kind of like talk to people to try to figure out what monsters to kill or what to do to level up to get money. So it was very interactive. So to me, it felt literally like I was being transported into like a virtual fantasy world, and
Hmm.
I was forever like in love with the experience, right? So, and then just other games don't really provide that for me because I like that part of it. I like being able to like jump into another space and share it with other people. So I guess that's the biggest thing that draws me to MMOs is that sense of
Yeah.
community.
Yeah. And I think that's a really big, I mean, I feel like Intrepid really values that because you can see that with the dynamic gridding and their intention for ensuring that you can see as many players on your screen as possible. I mean, one thing I remember when they're still talking about rolling out dynamic gridding in the first place, they were talking about how other games like World of Warcraft have sharding, and there's technically other players there, you just can't see them, and it makes the world feel a little less busy and fulfilling. And I think a lot of MMO players love that aspect of just watching other people going about their screen, just moving around, because there's something about the NPCs being mapped perfectly to go and do their loops is fine. And that does bring some life, but not quite the same life as seeing people asking questions, looking for groups, trying to get together to raid any sort of like Tumac or just any boss or dungeon. And I feel like it adds a lot of intrigue and interest, and I just MMORPGs are one of my favorite as well. Vertec, did you have any questions? I know I'm trying to buy you a little bit of time since you're fussing with the we I may have moved a bunch of files on Vertex, so he's trying to make sure everything's in order. Oh, I don't hear you. I think you're on mute.
Yeah. I just unmuted. But yeah, sorry, everybody. We tried to do some cleanup and some organization and some revamping of a lot of stuff over the holiday break, and we did this time, but didn't
Yes.
quite finish everything to polish. So everything kind of had to resync, and I had to relink everything to OBS, and everything's like out of sizing, and some filters are blown out. So I'm slowly fixing things as we go along, but Sir Pelu. So, what is your favorite kind of content in an MMO? Are you a big PvE person? Are you a big PvP person? Are you all about the economy? All of the above?
I think I'll be honest. I think my favorite part of an MMO is definitely the PvE. I'm not. So I think why is because I'm not super competitive individually. Like I don't particularly want to be better than other people, but I'm very competitive when I'm in a team environment and I want like the team to like do good. So whenever I'm doing like raids or like if it's like dungeons or like in well like Mythic Plus or something like that, like it just trying really hard so that the team can succeed and we can accomplish something as a group. Like it just it gives me I guess the most satisfaction. Never been like a huge PvPer. I've done a little bit of it, but I guess it just doesn't really like I play the MMOs to play with people and to make friends
Yeah.
and contacts and like stuff like that. And I feel like sometimes PvP can like I mean people kind of get mad when you get PK'd or whatever. So
Yeah.
I've always gravitated towards the PvE. Never been a crafter. I've played a lot of MMOs and I guess I just get overwhelmed and I was like, just point me in a direction. I will hit something with a sword and I got you. I'm your
Yeah.
guy. So definitely PvE.
That's
Nice,
fair.
nice. Yeah, it sounds like my approach most of the time. I know Ash is kind of turning me more into an economy crafting artisan type. I'm enjoying it. There's still some work to be done, of course, but I'm enjoying it more than other games because it's always just you do it just for some random bonus at end game, right? And other than that, crafting is almost useless in most games. So
Meanwhile, I'm like the first. I didn't even hit 25 before I was journeyman in at least 2 or 3 crafts this phase.
Yeah, some people are really good. I think it definitely depends on the person, right? Some people it just clicks, right? They'll look at it and be like, "Oh, I know exactly what I need to do. This is," and they just like it's like something clicks and they're really good at it. I just get overwhelmed. I look at it, I was like, oh my goodness, I need to do what? Just
Yeah.
just chop down some trees and that's it. So I guess it depends really on the person and like what they kind of and like their affinity in real life, right? So
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
I dig it. I dig it.
So for those that don't know, you make content. What kind of content do you make, and what kind of community are you hoping to foster?
So right now I'm streaming on Twitch. I started like 2 months ago. So like you could say that my content is basically more gameplay slash conversational. Mostly about MMOs, about games. And I guess my end goal for the streaming is I want to be able to create like a community where people can like nerd out together and be somewhat of a support system. I do recognize that like as a country and like these times like there's a lot of like things happening around the world, right? So like tensions are very high everywhere. So like I want to make sure that even if people don't have like friends around them, they can always have somewhere that they can go and connect with other people, have some sort of a support system to where they can, share their stories with games or just have, relationships that way or like friendships that way, right? I guess us as humans, we're very gregarious by nature, right? It just like we want to belong to something, we want to be part of. So in the future, I would like to have some sort of community that can, be inclusive, hey, you guys are welcome, nerd out, let's hang out, let's talk about anything, life, MMOs, anime, whatever you guys want. So
Yeah,
I like that.
cool.
Kind of really resonates with us too. It's the kind of space we like to foster here as well. Very much this is a neutral zone. Like in game you can rant and rave at each other and shit talk all you want, but here let's just chill and play games, man. Let's talk about a game.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing here. You can shit talk a little bit, but let's not get too serious about it.
Yeah.
I like it.
I think it's needed. The whole point of gaming in the first place. I mean, gaming has come a long way. One would argue that, at one point we started using it to help train, military or help people that can't go outside be able to experience some sort of outside again. But also at the end of the day, gaming is intended to be a nice escape from whatever situation. It could be you've been having a really stressful day and you want to go play Sims, or it could be, you know what, I just need to pretend real life isn't a real life and I'll go play my fantasy life on like Ashes or World of Warcraft or D&D. Like, gaming is intended to be a much more fun situation and an area where you can just escape for a bit, just like a good book. So
Indeed.
we value that. And I love the politics in the game, specifically like the, do I siege this castle or this settlement, or do I support this settlement? And there's a lot of intrigue within Ashes that are currently being developed still. I think one thing that we were struggling with, at least for our game, was anvils are having a little bit of issues with developing the buildings compared to the Riverlands. And there'll be some other bugs that I want to talk about later, but it's just one of those like interesting things of like, okay, which settlement do we push to try to get to a village stage first, and then which one do we try to get into a town stage, and why would we want that one? And then when they finally introduce the deconstruction of the settlement, when you actually siege one successfully, that will change the world in a way that we haven't experienced yet, and I'm pretty excited.
Oh,
So, what do you think, Fantasma? So, I guess one last question I'd have before we roll into talking deep on Ashes stuff. What kind of content do you think you're going to find it most exciting to make? What are you looking most forward to making?
I like that one.
Like a guides person, all about the raiding, exploration, like treasure maps and finding little neat features?
Honestly, I think what I'm most excited about is honestly like the open world and like finding stuff and just kind of like spontaneous events, I guess. So like in my, I guess my dream scenario, right? Like if I imagine like if I'm streaming and I put this video on YouTube, it'll be like, hey, we were out doing a quest or grinding or trying to do something and something completely unexpected happened. Like, you know, we encountered another group and some boss spawned in the world and we had to kill it. So we had to form an alliance and, you know, at first we're fighting, but then we, you know, we grouped up. So I guess I think that would be like kind of like my preferred content, just like stuff that happens out in the world. So more gameplay definitely related. I don't think I'm not super. I don't think I can do guides as of right now. I might be able to. Maybe I could do them in Spanish. I don't know. Maybe that's something that I'll be interested in. If I don't see a lot of Spanish guides happening, I could be like, hey, you know, not the expert in X class, but this is what's working for me, and then I'll just do that. But I kind of want to focus on spontaneous events. I think that's like where the game kind of like shines with all the player interactions.
Yeah. Something to tip you off on for maybe some content to try to make at some point, or just a fun adventure to go on is I believe every phase has had a shrine to the sandal, a sandal shrine, if you will, hidden somewhere. Yes. Has not been found yet. If it exists in this phase, I'm not sure if they've confirmed if there's a sandal shrine. There is, however, an artifact in the world somewhere that's sandal related, and it's apparently very, very powerful, and nobody's found it yet.
Okay, I like that. I did not know that is actually really good. So it's basically something that anyone can find, and there's only one.
Yeah.
Right. All right.
At least confirmed
it's out there.
At least confirmed it exists, and I would assume because he stressed it's very powerful. So I'd assume that there's only one out there, because they also were talking previously about artifacts being some very limited items. Like there would only be like one or two on the server or something like that. So I'm assuming, there is one.
That's actually really cool. Love to hear it. I'm definitely going to be in the lookout. Love to hear it.
Yeah, it's
trying to dig it up.
If a player collects a one per server item but stops playing also during their stop paying their subscription in the future, or like quits the game, then the item will, depending on the item, it might be timed. But yeah, they're intended to be one per server, limited.
I think I remember.
Proper like legendary artifact at that like highest tier ever. So.
Oh boy, the wars that are gonna happen.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? Yeah, they're talking about like I heard the sandal artifact is under a rock, and someone's like, Vertec actually, it was like sandalstone mining.
Yeah, sandstone mining. Yeah, he's trying to get the Oracle to go back out and do more sandstone mining. It's been a couple times we'd walk across the desert.
In one sandstone, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple times we were walking across the desert, and every single time he saw something to mine, he would stop and try to mine it. And then we saw just a giant field of sandstone. He goes, I can't. Don't look. Keep going.
That's the worst. Imagine, or somebody that's like that they just need to loot everything. Oh, poor guy.
Triple says, I found a giant sandal this phase. Ooh, I'm excited. Yeah, that was one of the ways that we actually found one of our other content creator friends is we were back in Alpha 1, we were raiding over, and they were like leading a raid or something, and they were like, oh yeah, if you guys didn't know, there's like the sandal shrine, and there was a whole thing with it. It was awesome. I really appreciated that.
All around the map, like swimming under the water to try to find little hidden grottos and stuff. They found one that took them into this crazy looking area, looked almost like dystopian, like almost like some of the land would look like with World of Warcraft when they did Cataclysm, where it's just this giant wasteland with stuff that's burnt.
Yeah.
And, like gates going to nowhere, that type of thing. It was just wide and empty, but it looked like there was just a massive war that was fought there. But there wasn't a shrine there, but he was finding some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah, fun fact, Alpha 1 was, I think, called Alpha Island, and I don't think that exists. We were trying to figure out where Alpha Island was within the world of Vera, but I think we ultimately decided it was its own little, like, unique island that they'd put together before we even had, like, a Winstead and a Mirrorleth or anything to test on. So,
yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
You guys ready for some hard-hitting Ashes topics?
do
Let's
it.
do this.
Yeah.
All right, so this first one I think is close to Vertex's heart, but I wanted to highlight this one as a primary example of when people are saying, "Oh, I don't know if Intrepid actually listens to anybody in the community." Well, previously it was stated by Steven that they were not interested in doing a wall of shame or anything on that front, and that they were going to continue banning people, but they didn't want a wall of shame because they didn't want people to go and like get their pitchforks and their torches and like go after these people. However, one giant thing that has changed in 2026 since we have come back from the holidays is Intrepid has changed their stance on it, and we actually do officially have a wall of shame for both the dupers and the RMTers. So people that were players that were the ones that were buying or duping or whatever, and then there's the separate one that are for the people that were spamming our chats with the with the links to go buy the money or the gold. Mr. New Toxic says, "I'm crafting a Lego pitchfork in a weaponsmithing." But what are your thoughts on the wall of shame? Are you happy it's here? How do you feel? And this will always go to you first. Fantasma.
Yeah, we always try to let guests go
Gotcha.
first. That way, as many unique ideas and statements come from you as possible, then we touch up after.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Got it. I thought it was you. Okay. So what do I think about the wall of shame? I'll be honest with you guys. I think it's definitely necessary. Because with the internet and these games, usually there's a certain level of like anonymity. And I guess people think like, oh, if nobody knows who I am, I'm just gonna do X or Y. I'm just gonna do whatever I want. If I get banned, I'll buy another account and I'll just keep doing it, right? And I think with this, it kind of like people will remember you. People will know you. I'll give you an example. I mean, I'm sure everybody that's watching or that's played the game, you see people concurrently, right? So like I'll be leveling at Oak or whatever, and I'll remember. I'll be like, oh, I played with that ranger, and I'll remember the name, and then I'll see him in another day, and I'll be like, oh, that guy was kind of a vibes were not there, so can we grab somebody else, right? So I think the wall of shame existing, right? I think it brings a lot of awareness to people, because I think about it, I'd be like, people who are like on the fence are like, oh, that want to like engage in this sort of activities can be like, if I do this and then I get banned and I get posted in the wall, all my guildies are gonna find out, like everybody's gonna find out, right? So everybody will know that I didn't win, I didn't like earn that gear. I was only winning because I was cheating, right? So I think it definitely works as a deterrent. I think it has to, right? And it's another way of self-policing, right?
Yeah.
Because we can police our own buddies and be like, hey man, like if you're doing that and you get banned, you're gonna get posted and everybody's gonna know, right? So I'm assuming and I'm hoping, right? And I don't really know how this technology works, right? But I think if they ban the person, hopefully they can associate like IP addresses or whatever. That way they're like, hey man, if you get caught and you get banned, like even if you buy another account, like you can't join because your IP is already banned, right? So no, I think
definitely.
I'm good with it.
Go ahead.
No, sorry. Yeah, I'm good with the wall, and I think it was a good addition. I think they needed to do it.
Yeah, I also wanted to add, for those that haven't seen it yet, just for a preface, I don't know, Vertec, if you've seen it yet, but they also do have the guild name. They have the character name, the guild name, the realm, and the month actioned.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. I actually posted, for those of you in chat or those of you watching later, I have the link in the chat for you. So, okay, Vertec, go ahead. Sorry.
I am a huge fan. I know their hesitancy, and I can see why they were hesitant to begin with. But at the same time, it's I don't think personally it was going to be as big of an issue as they were going to make it out to be, as far as like the legal and witch hunts and stuff like that, because it's after the fact, right? Like these people have been banned. What are you going to witch hunt? They're gone. They're not in the game anymore. But the fact that it puts a name out there makes sure that people understand, like, this is the person, like, you interacted with this person all the time. If they're in your Discord and they change their names, you're still going to know who it is. Like, you're going to know and actually have an idea of who you should and should not really be associating with, because they're doing, shady stuff. And adding a guild name on there. So I think it's good that people see that the guild name is attached, because that's going to be a big preventative measure. Guilds are not going to want their names attached to a list like this, right? So if there's somebody in their guild that they suspect or get actual proof of doing things like duping and RMTing, it's more motivation to either report them or at least get them out of the guild and get them away from associating with your people, you know?
Yeah.
Instead of just letting it, well, maybe they'll get caught, maybe they won't. We'll just whatever. He's doing whatever. He's in our raid group though, so we're gonna, no. Your guild name is gonna be on a list, and people are gonna, start possibly avoiding your guild.
Possibly, yeah. And I mean, I know our guild Nexus has a very strong feeling about cheating and duping and things like that within Ashes, and we try to do our best to help Intrepid report bugs. I mean, to the Win, who's in our chat, is one of our guildies, along with a couple of others. But he's one of the ones I've heard like so many bug reports, like especially when he was having like all of his free time, where he didn't have to do a 9 to 5 for a period of time. He was like finding so many bug reports in just one day that I was just like, I don't even know. I think this is your calling, to be honest. But Dalshan says, Dalshan said, I would like to see a system where we can block those players. I don't want to play with that type of person. And I think that's important. I mean, one thing that I would like to see, and I'm sure they haven't gotten the tools there quite yet, because you can mute them, you can ignore them. And in case you guys do come across somebody trying to sell gold to you for RMT, or you do think somebody is cheating and you have a cause for concern, I would suggest grabbing as many screenshots and or recordings as you possibly can and opening up a customer service ticket. And that's actually how a lot of the ones on the sellers list, the RMT sellers list, got put there, is because a lot of you guys, including us, reported a lot of the CS tickets, and we took screen grabs. We explained what server we were on and like what they were doing. Like, it was crazy. They were getting really good. They were starting to even link random items that would link to the website. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I think one thing to add with that, Vertec, that you said, like, you don't want to have your guild associated with like cheating. We have a saying where I'm from in Puerto Rico that goes like, dime con quién andas y te diré quién eres. What that means is like, tell me who you're with and I'll tell you who you are. So guys, remember that you might not be actively doing this, but if people in your guild are doing this, like, they're going to be like, oh, this guy in this guild was doing this. So they're going to label the whole guild as that. So kind of a way of like self-policing your buddies and making sure that, you guys are all, doing the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good thing, to be honest, because once people know that their name's gonna be out there on a list like this, if they get caught buying, selling, trading RMT and doing like dupes and such like that, then for one, they don't want to get banned, right? But there's ways around bans depending on how they're done. So they might think they can circle back around, but if their name is on a list that's popped out there that this person was confirmed as doing this, if they try to change their name, people are going to still try to not associate with that. And so over time, it will at least reduce the amount of people buying stuff with RMT, which is going to make it less attractive for those to try to sell stuff as RMT. So it's going to kind of take care of both sides of the thing, because it's a business expense, right? You pay $50 and you get back in the alpha with a new account. How long does it take you to create another Gmail, right? And another forum account using that Gmail? 30 minutes and you're back online, no problem. But you're spending $50 every time, and if you don't make that money back very quickly and very easily, it's going to stop being worthwhile. Like, go to an easier target,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna buy myself a little bit of time here because I'm looking for something. The next topic I want to talk about is the experience of leveling, the leveling experience within Ashes at the moment. One thing that, if anybody hasn't had a chance to join us for the early access or the Steam Alpha 2, it's pretty much still in a position right now where you kind of have to grind a bunch of mobs just to level, but that's not the intended outcome. The intended outcome will have the whole entire the whole entire like questing system, or you could do artisan stuff or anything else. But one thing that is important, I don't know if it matters to other people, but if you hit 25 this phase, you will get a pretty cool looking cosmetic, in my opinion. It's like this giant tree looking golem. Yeah, we were teasingly calling it Groot.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find... I'm trying to find the link. There we go. It's called the Autumn Garden Mount, or Guard, Guarden, Garden. And it's exclusively for reaching level 25 during the early access. And you get titles for anybody playing before or during December 11th of Cultist of the Eternal Fire and Knight of the White Flame. And this is actually from... I don't know which resource this is. This is a resource I'm not familiar of. It's called Fextra Life.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of it, but they did a whole thing, and there's even an image there of what the garden mount looks like, the Autumn Garden Mount. So it's pretty cool. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, Fextra Life, it's almost like an MMORPG.com type of thing. It's
gotcha.
Some reviews and some coverage, some guides, things like that.
Gotcha. So one of the questions that I had for you, Fantasma, was how has the leveling experience been for you? Because you had a little bit of experience before we went into Steam, and Vertec and I have been doing this since Alpha 0, like well before we had any sort of alpha or the battle royale or anything. So we've been kind of along for the ride this entire time. But how does the level experience feel for you before and after the Steam release?
So I guess I really didn't know a lot about the game. I came into the game, I didn't really have any crazy expectations, right? So I was like, I didn't know what was the best way to level or how to level. So I kind of went in, and then when I heard about like, hey, you're supposed to grind levels, I was like, oh, wait, this reminds me of Final Fantasy 11, like freaking 20 years ago. And I remember enjoying that, right? Granted, different times, right? 2005 game, PS2 game, online game, or Xbox 360, and that was like the experience. You formed a party in the town, and then the party would travel together to the grind location, and it usually was in a very dangerous place, and then you would just sit there and you grind until you couldn't grind anymore, and that was the only experience until max level, and then you did like raids and stuff like that, and that was very okay for it. And I hadn't had an experience like that until I joined Ashes in the previous phase, and
What's that, Garci?
And I was actually like pleasantly surprised. I wasn't super opposed to it, right? Because it reminded me of like what MMOs used to be, which was more of a, hey, get a bunch of adventurers together, go kill some monsters, get some loot, get some money, and then come back to town successfully, right? And I remember my first experience was, I think, at church. So you go to Riverlands, and I think the first thing that I was hearing people say, like, hey, just go to church, just go to church. I was like, I have no idea what that is, right? Found a group, finally made it over there. I thought it was cool. I liked the whole fact that you had to like find your own spot, because then you can find other groups farming. So you would have to figure out, okay, I'm going to go to the roof, I'm going to go to the right side, get some experience that way, right? It was surprising to me that there was no quests. Like the quests were very limited. It was kind of like, okay, there were some quests, but it wasn't like the main way to level. So that was very different. I was like, oh, that's not what I'm used to for the past 20 years in all the other theme park MMOs.
Yeah.
So that was definitely very shocking, and it's been good. I will say it's been good. I know you said it earlier that that's just grinding mobs. It's not the intended design, and I am happy. And I think once they start including more ways to effectively level, I think the game's just gonna, like, people are just gonna go crazy over it, right? Because not everybody enjoys that kind of stuff, right? Or you don't have 3 hours a day to play the game. You might have 1 hour, depending on like what you do IRL, your job, family. So I'm thinking, like, as long as there's always another way to effectively level. Like, let's say that I can join for an hour a night, right? And I want to go in, I want to grab a quest, and I want to go to like a random corner to the map and then just do a bunch of quests over there and then just get some decent XP that way. And then that would be my night. I think I would be super happy with that. In this phase, leveling felt better. I don't know if you guys noticed. Definitely felt better. I think the mobs felt weaker for sure. I remember going to church and it was like people were going crazy if one of the fanatics would turn into a zombie. Oh yeah. In last phase, people would go crazy. Be like, "This can't happen. If you do this, you have to run to the hills, run away. You're gonna die."
Jump off the edge, quick.
Yeah, like it was literally run to the roof, reset aggro, or we're all gonna wipe, right? And then in this phase, it was like, no, what are you doing? And I remember being like, what do you mean, dude? I gotta interrupt this. I have to kill this fanatic. If he becomes a zombie, we're gonna die. And they're like, no. Let him become a zombie. Give him more XP. So I was like, what? So it felt better. It definitely felt better. And now at some point, like spawn rates starting feeling a little bit weird. Like monsters weren't spawning, but I think they did an update last week or something, and it just like density seems to be like off the roof. So like now you can constantly pull monsters. And so far I'm level 15, and the experience has been good. Has been really good. I haven't experienced any like super crazy glitch from monsters, so it's been really good so far.
That's awesome. For reference, Vertuck and I started up in the Anvils, and that's been a very different experience compared to starting in the Riverlands for us. So, Vertuck, what are your thoughts on the leveling experience this far?
I'm liking it better. If we're talking specifically about the leveling experience, I mean, I like it better mainly just because it feels better to do the grind. You know, I mean, there's not really many new quests that they added in Riverlands that I've seen because we jumped up to the Anvils, so I don't know how that's going. But the questing in Anvils I think was great until it comes to an abrupt end. So I hope they add more stuff up there. That'll be dandy. At least to be equivalent to what they had in Riverlands prior to the Steam launch. But going around and doing the grinding and the running around and adventuring and actually trying to survive the world feels better from a tank point of view for sure. Oh my gosh, I feel more like a tank now than I ever have. And I know that people have said, tank is viable because blah, 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 insert reasons, whatever, but it wasn't a tank, It was a fighter version 1.3 or something. It was just a different version of a fighter with a little bit more health and different skills. But it went down just as fast as a fighter, I felt. And it just really didn't feel satisfying to play a tank in that tank fantasy. Like I'm going to be able to survive and control a field and know you're not getting away. I'm going to lock you down here. I'm going to pull you back. I'm going to chase you. I'm going to be on your heels. I'm going to be that annoying little gnat just smacking you around constantly. I may not take you down very quick, but I'm not going to let you just run away into nowhere. Like I'm going to be a hassle. You're going to hate me.
Yeah.
And when it comes to PvE is going to be, control mobs, stay alive, be able to solo forever, because I should be able to live just about forever when it comes to fighting enemies of my same level, like appropriately leveled and tiered enemies. I should be able to fight forever. And it just wasn't like that before. You'd fight maybe 2 of them and I'd have to sit down and actually eat to recover. And now it's like, I feel like I can actually go through and something that's my level with 0 stars, I could face tank it forever. It's going to take me a while to kill anything, which is fine. I'm okay with that balance. My job is to stay alive and keep other people alive and keep them safe, right? It's not to kill things. I'm supposed to get friends to kill stuff for me.
Yeah. Erwin saying he needs you to get to JM cooking because he needs his angler num-nums.
I got JM cooking. You just gotta give me the materials and the anglers. I don't think I have that recipe yet. I need the recipe.
But I was also gonna say, like, a big difference that I think I felt this time around is that a big difference I felt is the Destiny system is really cool. For those of you that are new, you've only ever seen the Destiny system, but there was not a Destiny system beforehand. And I feel like that's kind of helped. However, one thing I have heard is as much as it's helpful, people still just don't necessarily inherently know what it means. Like, okay, what do you mean get thread? How do I get thread? Do I have to go buy it? I don't have any money. How do I, like, what do I do? So I think just working on making it extremely clear, like, you know, hey, you should look for a flower to go harvest so that you can make this thread, you know, something that helps like people know. I know we're not trying to be too handholdy because this is a more harder core MMO, but it's still one of those for someone who's coming from maybe not an MMO or like maybe other versions of MMOs, but they've never really touched a game like BDO or anything like that. I think that
honestly, just to comment on that real quick.
Yeah.
I think you're on point there. Like it doesn't necessarily need to be handholdy, but just pointing to the systems and being like, hey, hit this button to pull up the artisan system. Now look through there. You'll find that's where you'll find thread and you'll figure out how to do it.
Yeah, just something a little bit, and I mean, that's just more like constructive criticism, like further feedback. I think what they've done already is pretty awesome. I think it's better than what we had. However, I think that once you get to level 5 or 6, it kind of it has this nice little groove of like, okay, cool, welcome to Vera, here's the starting quest, and okay, now you need to make a bag, okay, now here's a couple of quests for you to do, and then you hit 5 or 6, and you just kind of don't get any more quests, at least in the anvils, and you're just kind of sitting there like crickets. There's no pointers on like where to go. It just says, hey, go to a settlement and turn this in, and you're like, oh, okay, as you look around the world at like all of these things that are either bare for the very first time users or just not really sure which settlement to go to, like what I don't know what to do with this. And I think that is very interesting because you saw people that were like, okay, I guess I'll just start go killing stuff or collecting stuff. And then you also had people that were like, well, now what? Now what do I do? And they're just kind of lost and they needed direction. And so I think that like 6 to 10, maybe even to 15 area could be polished a little bit better. But I think we will also see that as more of these story arcs actually get into the game and more content gets into the game. I know that at the start of phase 3, I'm going to call it, what would we call it? Phase EA. At the start of the Steam release, we had them add 30 new POIs in the anvils. And one thing that we have mentioned on this podcast previously is that MMO players are really good at going through content really fast. So while you did add 33 new POIs, there were still like these other things that our guild at least were sitting here going like, this is missing right now. I don't really know what to do with this. I get to like 15 pretty decently, maybe 20 if I push it, but like looks over at the Riverlands with these major POIs like Befallen Forge, Carfin, you know, Steelbloom Citadel, all of these areas that you can go and actually fight. And there's not really anything like that in the anvils at the moment yet. But the point that I'm making with this is, as awesome as it was to experience the anvils, there's a big point of like, what do I do now? And there were no major POIs to go and try to do that content. Like the Riverlands has Oakenbane, which is for lower levels, around level 13, 14. And then you have progressively from there, which one? Cephalian, Remnants of Cephalian, there we go. And then from there, you typically would go to either Steelbloom Citadel or maybe Carfin. And then from there, you would go to Befallen Forge. And so there's like a nice little pathway of major POIs. But I think overall, though, the enemies did feel pretty good. And I feel like there were some interesting bugs that happened. Like, I think mob density in the anvils needs to be reworked because for our guildies, it was like going through Ravenhell because you can't get to the main city without going through a large chunk of like minotaurs, ravens, and crows and things like that. And so it was one of those like, if you're level 9, don't even bother going to like KT without a guide or like somebody like a bigger level than you. Otherwise, you will absolutely get killed. So
I've seen the videos.
Yeah.
I've seen the YouTube shorts of people getting annihilated by just a bunch of crows.
Yep.
So it's crazy.
Yep. Crowfields. Crowfields, gotta love 'em.
It's crazy.
But I feel like also the artisan system for leveling is a little bit different. There are
The birds,
like-
this desert soul.
the birds. I feel like novice was pretty good. Apprentice was okay, but then once you get to journeyman, at least for me, as a weaver, a tailorer, and an alchemist, there's a lot. It gets really complicated really fast, and also like to process bluebell, and then to process something like whatever is the journeyman stuff. I think spindle hemp is like so long. It's like 7.5 minutes for a bluebell, and then close to 30 minutes for like spindle hemp, and you're just like, oh my goodness, that's a really long time. So imagine needing like a lot of spindle hemp bolts, right? So now you have to like spend hours literally just to make bolts. And it's just it's interesting. Yeah.
Wow.
It's just
I didn't-
spindle
wow.
hemp is soul crushing long.
I did
Yeah.
not
so
know that.
you're missing out on that because you're not doing the artisan side of that.
30 minutes for a craft. I think. Oh my goodness.
Well, the
Yeah,
cool thing
processing
is, it's
especially
not
takes
like World of
forever.
Warcraft. Yeah, it's not like World of Warcraft. So, like, when you put something on a processing bench, you can walk away from it. So, you could put like 2 to 3 hours worth of processing on a bench and go and do like leveling for a bit and then come back and take it off. All of the crafting is still like 3 seconds. It's not the crafting side, it's mainly the processing.
Yeah, you can
I
put up
wonder
like
why.
250 items at a time to process, and it can be 30 seconds or even a minute per.
Yeah.
So you could come back, and with the benches that were in KT, at least when we were up there, you could put in 2 blocks of something processing, so you could put up 500 items in total, so 500 minutes worth of processing, and just come back, 10 hours later, and pick it all up.
I wonder
Yeah.
why. Like, do you think that? I mean, I'm assuming it's probably gonna change, or I'm not wondering like why.
I think they want to time gate it, in my opinion.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, the approach I think they're going for is gathering takes a lot of time to go out and gather stuff, and it's pure money income coming back. Like all you got to do is worry about repair bill and making it back with the stuff you're gathering. Processing, you either go out and gather yourself and bring it back, and then you're turning it again just into kind of profit with additional profit with processing. But then you have to spend time and money just putting it in there and waiting. So it's a time gate, it's a money gate, it's a big money sink for processing.
Yeah.
So expensive. So that's the thing. You don't have to run out and gather stuff.
You could literally
And-
just play the market and get it.
Yeah. And processing will feed into so many different things. Whereas like crafting is, if somebody doesn't want that specific item, you're not making that thing. So you
Yeah.
can have a bunch of recipes that are just sitting there doing nothing, and you're going to make 8 recipes, and those are the only ones you're really going to be making out of your crafting artisanship. So the big thing with crafting is trying to collect the recipes, get the recipes, and then once you have them, now you got to go and gather all that stuff, and you got to pay money for all that, like paying money to a processor. So it's another money gate there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's scary.
It's just
That's scary.
But it's the cool thing with processing and with gathering is you get more XP based on the rarity that you're processing and gathering. So if you get a legendary, you get a huge chunk of XP from that. Not so much with crafting. I think it's like it doesn't really matter because like typically it's somebody else giving you the goods, so it doesn't matter what quality of material they're giving you. You're still getting the XP out of it like the same as common or legendary. I don't know how to feel about that, but that's also why, like, as an alchemist, funny enough, I just kind of wanted to put this out there. They disabled a lot of my alchemy elixirs because I think they weren't tuned properly. So one of the patch notes was talking about like disabling like a whole list of like elixir of cooking, elixir of farming, and all of these things. And all of those elixirs give XP. So you would take this elixir to get extra XP. But I just thought that was kind of crazy. But they just yesterday released a new update and then had to go and roll back that update because they were trying to change the artisan consumables and the service building buffs and things like that. They were able to not roll back any of the character progress, just the changes to the recipes and things like that. But I think this kind of leads me into the next thing. So they're going to have more testing of the artisanship changes before they bring it back to the Alpha 2 realms, which comes to my next thing. This is my favorite. So they announced recently, once Steam approves them for this, they're bringing the PTR to Steam. So soon we will have Ashes of Creation PTR available. And from, I think, Maggie, they said they're actively QA testing an upcoming build packed with lots of bug fixes and improvements. And as soon as Steam releases the ability to do it on PTR, they'll let us all know. And I'm so excited for that because my favorite testing is PTR testing. I don't mind the typical Alpha 2 test, but some of the interesting changes that they have are on PTR, and I'm just looking forward to seeing what changes they add because, in my opinion, there's a lot of adjustments that need to happen in the anvils before it feels really viable. But there's also a lot of, like, artisan's my bread and butter. I love artisan at the end of the day. That's my end game loop at most times. So yeah, PTR testing, secret sauces in the mead. Oh my gosh.
There will always be some secret sauce. But I really hope when they do the PTR through Steam, they allow us some method of like transferring over our characters for testing with specifically the character that I have, and or, maybe not. I mean, I know bringing over like a bank account or a storage in some node is going to be difficult to do with something like that because of how it's all set up. But at least bringing your character over, and I don't know. Like if there's a box you could put stuff in the regular server, like take it to one of the starter areas and just drop it in the storage there, and that will transfer over in like Lionhold or whatever. Just so you can bring something over, or if you even need to, because I mean PTR there should be like ingredient vendors and item vendors and scroll vendors and stuff like that because you're testing things, right? Yeah. So you may not even need to bring anything over, but at least to bring your character to see how your character feels in the new situation.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, that's a good take. That's Intrepid. Please let us bring our character so that everybody's motivated to go to the PTR. That's a really good one.
It's really nice because it would be also cool if, like, for example, I'm already level 25, but let's say I'm not level 25. Let's say I brought my level 11 cleric over and I wanted to test how things felt on my level 11 cleric, but as I progress on the main realm, not PTR, on the live version, then I can have a button maybe to update my character where it will pull my character from the live version, and maybe I've gotten to level 20 finally, and now I have my level 20 cleric that has an increased amount of whatever skills I've chosen, to go into with that. It would be so nice because I loved that about World of Warcraft's PTR. You were able to like copy characters over from different servers and things like that. And to Vertex's point, I think it's just really nice because one complaint or like constructive criticism that I would have is that when we do the PTR and they give you the gear, they give you like the potions or whatever to just auto level you, oftentimes the gear is better than what I have on live, because it's like whatever blue or purple gear. And right now I'm in a lot of commons and some uncommons. And it's just one of those things where it feels good, but what part of that is the gear that I'm wearing and what part of that is actually like the changes that are happening? Yeah.
Hard to gauge the actual feeling of the new situation with, OP gear compared to what you have. Or under gear. I mean, maybe you'll just have to play with some random miscellaneous, buy some commons or something from a vendor. Mix it up with some rares. I don't know.
Something. But yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty excited. I'm excited to see that PTR is able to get put onto Steam. And for those that don't know, Alpha 2 will eventually become the official like PTR. As we go into betas and upon actual launch, Ashes of Creation's primary server the live version will be whatever is launched, and then all of Alpha 2 will just kind of remain as the PTR going forward. So pretty excited for that. But I'm curious to see how that goes with the Steam, right? I think Steam will probably surpass where we are currently live, because again, it's the playtest is what we're currently working to get implemented into the live. But eventually, that'll just be, yeah, you forgot about that. Yeah. But all right, well, I want to move this over into the next question I have. So one of the biggest parts of releasing an MMO, or any game for that matter on this day and age, especially with Steam, is how well Steam handles the release of said game. There are moments where Vertec and I have backed a game, and I don't want to list any because I don't want to possibly bring any negative context to them, but we've backed a couple of games where when we've gone to play them, we were forever in a queue, like an hour or two long queue or more, just to try to even play the game. And then because you're in said queue, Steam had thought that we were playing this entire time, and I'm like, no, was in a queue. Can I get a refund, please? Because this is 4 days later. We're still in a 1+ hour queue. I can't get through anything. So with that in mind,
that, at least with one of them, it was a 1 to 2 hour queue that would kick you out, and you'd start back into a 1 hour queue. And then you get in the game, and the game would crash you as soon as you take 3 steps, and then you're back in a 1 to 2 hour queue. So the 1 to 2 hours, what it says on screen, but it's actually, I think in Steam with at least one of them, I had logged 10 or 11 hours of quote unquote gameplay, but in game time, I was there for I think 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Shadowbringers. Yeah. PTSD. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, exactly. So in your opinion, how has the Steam release been compared to your expectations of its release? So for example, for me, I had anticipated probably at least an hour or two in queue, just because I didn't know how the dynamic gridding was going to work. And instead, I noticed that a lot of our guildies were getting in pretty quickly, and were able to make characters and were able to progress within a reasonable amount of time. So with that in mind, I thought that it was pretty good for a release compared to what I had expected it to be. So what are your thoughts?
I definitely think that it surpassed my expectations, because I was expecting a complete just chaos, right? I remember I brought up Shadowbringers PTSD, and I remember sitting hours on queue, and just hours, and then just watching that number go down, and then I was like, oh my god, number 1, I'm about to play the game finally, and then it would just disconnect you. And then you would be like, oh my goodness, no. And then you relog again, and then you're back at the end of the line and queue 5,000. And it was like that for days. I remember it was like that for days. It was a really bad experience, right? But with the Ashes of Creation Steam release, I remember the first day I logged in, and yeah, there was a queue. I think it was in a queue of 2,000. I can't really remember, right? And I was like, oh, that seems like a lot. I think I created a character first. Yeah, it allowed you to create the character, and then you jump into play, and that's when it put you on the queue. And I was like, well, it was to be expected. There was going to be a queue, and to my surprise, I remember that number started trickling down consistently, and I was nervous. I was like, oh my god, here it comes the DC.
Here it comes.
Here it comes. So I was doing something else in the computer, and then I remember finally listening. I was tapped out, and then I heard something, and I was number 1 in queue. And at that point I was sweating. I was like, here it goes, Shadowbringers. But I was able to first day I was able to log into the game. And it wasn't crazy. It was just a little bit stuttery. There were so many people. I was I couldn't even believe what I was seeing. There were so many people playing. But at that point it was already too late, and I had to work the next day. So I played for I played for 30 minutes, and then I was like, goodbye. So definitely better than what I expected. The next day I was able to get in. I did do a queue. It was a 25-minute queue, but then I was able to play. Definitely expectations were surpassed for sure.
Yeah. Master Chief says, I think that tons of lazy key holders waited to link accounts until the 12th, causing worse experience for streamers.
Yeah, a lot of people did have the linking issues. Because I played previously, as soon as I got the email hey, you're able to link your Steam account, I was like, okay. zero
Yeah.
problems, right?
Yeah.
But I can see where people that didn't try the previous phase, hadn't linked the account, I could see where they could just be
Or if they
losing their
missed like the
minds.
email or something. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. There was a lot of chaos of like, I can't get in the game. Well, did you link your Steam account? How do I do that? Here's the link. Go.
check
Here's how
your
to do
email.
it. Yeah.
Check your email, my friend.
Just download through Steam, launch through Steam. It'll tell you
Yep.
what to do.
Yeah.
It's the easiest thing. But I'd have to agree. I was actually pleasantly surprised by the launch in general, and just going into the Steam version, there were quite a number of improvements to the game that felt good. But granted, it did not go perfectly. No launch that I've ever seen goes perfectly anyway. But what this does do, though, is it did test one big thing that hopefully they learned a lot from, and it will fix it in the future, is like login and key linking and stuff like that. Like those issues, hopefully they'll be able to fix that for full launch. I mean, obviously they're going to have another testing of it when beta hits,
Right.
because then beta is going to be a couple months until launch, like full launch. So a lot more people are going to be hyped to get into the beta just to try it in beta before it goes to like a full tilt launch when it starts costing actual money at that point.
Yeah.
But as long as they learned some good lessons and they fixed things that needed fixed, maybe, I don't know, I'm just saying, maybe some dynamic meshing for their website too,
Yeah. Sorry.
If the linking system starts to get overworked, then maybe just get a whole new server spawned up to do some ticket linking.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm teasing because we're using Zoom, and I guess there's like an AI feature. Because Vertec put his hands up, it told me he raised his hand. Like
Nice.
he wants to talk.
We're educated here, guys. Come on, everybody takes their turn. Like,
Yeah, exactly,
like
exactly. Iconic says, for the people who got the game from Steam weren't able to link their accounts up until they got into the queue first. I was one of them, but aside from that, the release was smooth. Yeah, and I think that if a good number, I don't know how many people were brand new versus how many people were already here, right? But there were a good number of my friends who hadn't linked their Steam ahead of time until day of. And they were like, I don't know how to play. I don't know what to do. Like, do I need to uninstall Ashes? And I was like, yes, uninstall Ashes, install it through Steam, link your account here. And, there was like a good number of my friends who I've been playtesting with who needed to do that day of. So I don't think that helped. But I think that's also, it was one of those things where I think, that being said, Intrepid hasn't had this many players, so I kind of expected something to go down. Yeah, exactly. But like, I expected something to go down. I honestly, like, again, like you said, the queue was pretty smooth for everything. Also, this is the first time that they're having the dynamic gridding input officially, like on its own, automatically working. And you can figure that out with where you log in. So we were having some of our members having no issues logging in, and people will go down to the Riverlands and they're in like one of the main cities in like Miraleth or Winstead, and they're crashing all the time. Meanwhile, the rest of us are playing just fine in the Anvils. There's no crashing going on or anything like that. And then they get like 1 hour queues just to get into the game, and they're like struggling to play at all. And it's because of the number of people that are trying to test in those areas. And I feel like just the proof of one of them leaving that like server worker, you can hit page up, by the way, when you're in game, and it'll pop up information on like what server worker you're on. So if you're ever having issues around an area, you could hit page up to see what server worker you are, go to the area that you're having issues with, and kind of go back and forth around an area to see if that number changes. If that number changes, an issue you're experiencing might have to do with this server worker changing. Otherwise, it could just be a random, really laggy situation. But I noticed some of them left the server worker for like Mirleth, and they were able to log out and log back in pretty quickly. So that kind of proved that the queue time was based on the server worker that your character is located on. And that was kind of interesting. So in case you guys didn't know that, if you ever run into a large queue time, just maybe jump on a character that's not in that same city, and you'll probably get right in if it's outside of a major
another reason it was
city.
kind of cool starting in Anvil's, just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Feelings got run over by numbers and performance. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We had almost no queue times up there because it was... Everybody was in the Riverlands because they know it, and they were trying to just excel quickly, and that's all they cared about was getting leveled fast, and instead of exploring new stuff and testing new content. We were like, Anvils, they added new quests and this and that, new POIs. Let's go test that.
Yeah.
And they look cool. I know the Anvils looks really cool. I think you start in a cave, and like I think the dwarven fantasy like is hit pretty hard. So it looks really, really cool. So I think they cooked, and it takes you through, like the quest kind of takes you through the cave and the monsters, like the goat people or whatever. I think they look really cool.
Ramkins.
So.
Depending on which side you go on, one side is just like straight up cave, like moss and drippy like water areas and stalactites and all that. And the other one's very constructed and like formed out of stone, like Dwarven Fortress feel.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah. You can really feel the heart of the difference in the two dwarven cultures just through their storylines and how the cave exits feel. But I like to also tease Mr. Noobtastic that I think he looks like a Ramkin sometimes with the red coloring that he went with for his Renkai, and like the cosmetics that make him look like he has horns. So out of the corner of my eye, sometimes I'd like freak out because I'd see him like running up on me, and I'm like, oh god, I'm getting attacked by a mob. It's just him. So, but yeah, I think just to kind of shortcut this part, I think they ended up doing a pretty good job at resolving a lot of the issues that were happening early on, like the summoning. Anytime a summoner would summon some sort of summon for them, it would either crash people or lag out everybody in that area. And they finally ended up fixing it. And I'm glad with the rate at which Intrepid continues to iterate these changes and answer these major bug problems that pop up. Compared to like the minor bugs, like just for a fun throwing out there, one of our guildies called his caravel his ship from inside of Kaltorum, and I don't think that they anticipated that you were gonna try to recover your ship from inside of a city. And so out of nowhere, the ship comes falling out of the sky into the middle of Kaltorum, and he's trying to get out of Kaltorum for like 2 or 3 days. And eventually, one day we got it close enough to the water. It just started like pulling the boat to the water. He couldn't control it anymore. It was just like magnetizing him into the ocean. Yeah, the Uber ship.
It's hilarious flying through the city on a ship.
That's pretty cool.
We were calling it Nexus boat tours for a little bit there.
Hey, you lose some money that way. Yeah, do some tours around the city. Hey guys, 50 silver a tour.
Yeah,
we're trying to do some campaigning for Mayor at the same time. Like, we'll keep the economy afloat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know we've been live for a little while, so I just want to add one more topic that I thought would be fun to cover. Now, this is actually a topic that came up in the community, and I want to know how people feel about this. So the general consensus is, for a little bit of background, currently you can kill somebody's mount, and that will make you go corrupted. However, killing a summoner's pet does not make you go corrupted. And so Mother Tekka on the forums is saying that, currently killing a summoner pet does not cause a player to go corrupt, and that for their perspective, that should change for the class to be able to be playable, because a summoner is nothing without their pet. And Mr. Noobtastic is saying, I despise the mount thing. I know that a lot of people were having issues with level 10s and unders who are PvP protected, murdering their mules when trying to do cargo runs and things like that. And they would typically have one person who would murder the mule and another person who would pick up the cargo, etc. But it's one of those, like, if you kill somebody's mount, you automatically go corrupted, even if that person's not flagged or is flagged. I can't quite remember. I just know that Mr. Newtastic definitely went corrupted at one point when somebody was griefing our group of people that were trying to just fish near Kaltorum, and we were engaging in a fight, and he killed their mount, and it made him corrupted immediately. So, in your thoughts, oh yeah, the mounts don't flag even when the player is. Okay, I've definitely seen my mount flag, but maybe that's a visual bug and not an actual thing. So, in your opinion, should killing a summoner's pet corrupt a player the way that killing a mount currently corrupts a player? Or do you think both should not corrupt a player? If a player is already flagged, should their mount also count as collateral damage as well as the summoner pet?
I think this one's a little bit tricky because as far as I'm aware, right, that's like, I know you just described it, but just to kind of like, I know you can be doing like a mule run, and let's say that you're somebody that doesn't want to do PvP. I know a level 9 without any gear on, just a sword, can just run up to you, auto attack your mule to kill it, and that will corrupt them. That means that's different from the purple thing, right? Because I know when you flag up for PvP, is you're purple, and then when you get corrupted, that's the red one, right? That's the one that when you do die, you lose gear, right? But I think should it corrupt you? I guess it depends, right? Because if you're killing somebody's pet, you're like, what is your intention? Is your intention to PvP them? I guess I don't think you should be able to kill them unless the person is flagged. That way, at least it's like, okay, it's fair game, right? But if the person is just, I don't know, fishing, and you have your pet out and then somebody, kills it, I guess it's complicated, really. 'Cause it depends on the intentions of the player, or like what type of content you're doing. So in that case, if it's a summoner and they kill your mule and they kill your pet, and then the person doesn't get flagged, so they would kill the pet first, don't get flagged, and then they kill the mule, and then the summoner is like defenseless. So I think, yes, I think they should definitely get flagged if you kill their pet, because like you're doing it with an intention to do something. You don't kill somebody's pet just to, so absolutely, I think they should get flagged.
Okay. Vertec, what are your thoughts?
I am big on the side of that. I think the mount should definitely flag as the player does. It should mimic the flag, be the same thing. Same thing with the summons. The summons should do the same. It should flag as the player flags, just to make things simple. That way there's not a whole lot of excess stuff on there. Just if thing you're slaying is player or player controlled and is not flagged, then you go red. If it is flagged, then you're purple when you attack, and that's it. Like the end. Like it mounts, like the battle pets when they get that going, the summoner pets, like all that stuff.
Okay, I kind of agree with you guys. Bring back killing mounts as a consensual PvP strat. Honestly, I feel like it should, right? Because if you're me, right, I am a cleric who has no mobility, and you are playing a fighter who has a lot of mobility. If you're flagged and I'm flagged and we're both PvPing, I think all is fair is in love and war. If you can kill my mount and I'm trying to run away from you, and that's your way of knowing that I don't have much mobility after that, that's a huge win for you. And vice versa. If you're getting away from me, but like, I can't close any gaps, but I can kill your mount, I can really make it difficult for you to get away from me by killing your mount. However, again, like you guys both said, and like chat said, if you aren't flagged and I kill your mount, or if I kill like your pet, then yeah, I feel like the thing that's summoned or controlled by the character should also act just like the character, not flagged, corrupted, just like if you kill the character. The question I want to put forward though, and this is something that I'm still trying to formulate an opinion on, is that like to a couple of the chatter's points, you can just summon another pet. You just resummon something. And yes, it will cost you some of your like resource for your class, but is it fair to corrupt somebody for killing your summon if you can just kill them? I guess you can't really kill them back. I don't know how powerful summoners are without their pets, to be honest. But is it fair to corrupt somebody over killing your summon if they didn't kill the player, they just killed the player's essence that they summoned? And honestly, that's the one.
Like for scale, it's probably about 50% of your overall effectiveness.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. And Mr. Newtastic says that summon is the long cast time, which means death in PvP. Very fair. Yeah. Okay. That's very valid.
It's, I think, a 3 or 4 second summon time. It's really long. It's stupid long.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, what's the intention behind killing the pet?
The summon, right? So, right, yeah.
So like,
if the intention is to like cause an issue or to like kill the player eventually, yeah, that's very fair. Right. I mean, otherwise, I don't typically go after somebody's summon. Like, that's not a thing I just do. Like, I'm like, oh, that person's got their whatever mystic healing people, you know. Any hostile actions deserve to be treated like PvP. That's very fair, Desert Soul. Mr. Jastics did say, oh.
I was just gonna say, like, for reference,
yeah,
when having the healer summon pet out, you can pop one skill to amplify, and you can heal the entire team up from 0 to full in like 2.5 casts, 3 casts.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's, I think, a 1 minute cooldown skill too. It's not even very long.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. It's okay. Mr. Newtastic says the bigger issue is that the corruption system is both too punishing and too easy to circumvent at the same exact time. So I think that's something that they're gonna eventually have to work. I know there was also bugs that were happening where you were supposed to be able to kill a corrupted person as a non-combatant and not get flagged, but it was still flagging people. I think that may have since been fixed, but I also know that the corrupted people weren't always showing up on maps. A couple of responses from people in the thread that I linked out. Kadamir says, I'll use the same logic as my argument against killing mounts. Mounts should not cause someone to go red. It's damaging to player inherently, but not killing them. If you want pets to make players go red, I say the same thing for mounts. Then make it so that you get XP penalty and drop half of your materials when someone kills your pets or mounts. If you don't think you should be punished for death, then neither should they for killing your mount or pet. And then they said, literally, who cares if someone kills your pet? The cooldown, when the cooldown's back up, summon it again and then fight them. If not, play a different game. But again, it's one of those, like, how long does it take you to summon your pet, right? If it's taking me, I don't know, 10 seconds, that's 10 seconds worth of taking damage that I can't do anything because I'm stuck in that summoning animation. I'm unable to fight or do anything else in that time period. And then Medhateka's responded and said, mounts aren't essential to play a class. Your pet is. If someone can flag and nuke your pet without fear of reprisal at any time, they have the jump on you 24/7. You can't activate your main abilities, you can't properly fight back, and as a summoner in this situation, your class is a very specific and very special disadvantage that quite literally no one else in the game faces currently, and that's the difference between the pet and a mount. So in his perspective, if all is fair in love and war to become corrupted for killing my mount, which I can, if I have another mount on me, I can just summon a different mount and hopefully it has more HP and I can get away a little faster. But the pet is literally my abilities. You're removing a lot of my abilities from my screen or my bar to be able to fight back. So that kind of helped me kind of figure it out a little bit more, because I've not played Summoner, so I don't really know from that perspective, but hearing that does make sense. And trip back to 10 seconds.
Yeah, it would
Funny.
be similar to saying like if you had a button where you could do 3 attacks and then a cleric can't do any healing for
Yeah.
like a 10 seconds, like stop and do nothing for 10 seconds. And then you can heal again. Or a tank, like let's remove your armor. Sure, you can do stuff, like you can do things, you can be effective.
But you're not
and
effective.
Help, but you're not gonna you can do things. You can be effective in some portions of your kit, but the rest of it's going to be absolutely useless.
Yeah, you're getting. I feel like you're getting an unfair. Like people got to understand. Like I get that part of like who cares, just resummon it, right? But you have to understand the context. Somebody's getting an unfair tactical advantage over you without any repercussion, right? And then if there were to be a repercussion, at that point you don't have a pet, so now you have to take time to try to summon it, and it all depends on the situation. So I get it if it was in a PvE, like or like, okay, they killed my pet, but nothing else can happen to me, and then just resummoning it. I could see that, okay, although annoying, but it's an unfair advantage, like tactically, right? Because they're killing it with an intention to follow up and do something else, right?
Right.
So, no, absolutely. I would, that definitely should corrupt you 100%.
I also like this other perspective that Mr. Newtastic put out there, which is actually something Vertec and I experienced in game specifically. And when you know what? I don't have very much left but huzzah, and I will take a shot.
Cheers.
I'll take a shot of something later for you.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, thank you. How to take first. Mr. Newtastic said not getting corrupted for killing a mount would take away a lot of the baiting that we see now. And one thing specifically in reference to that is Vertec and I were out at like Timber Catch, right? In the Anvils. It's an area that has a good amount of like basically Highwayman Hills mobs for the Riverlands, but they're dropping pretty good gear. So for us, it was really good XP, it was really good gear, and it was decent leveling. Well, this level 25 rogue decided he was pissed off that we were there and trained things into us continuously, which we did just fine with, until he kept trying to continuously summon his horse out so that one of us would accidentally kill it and go corrupted, and like just this whole other way of like griefing, just because like I'm pretty sure and I don't have like complete proof, so I'm not trying to accuse necessarily, but the timeline of everything doesn't really add up. Vertec goes, the boss came, but I didn't pull him. I was like, oh, I don't know, maybe he got pulled by something else, I don't know. So we kill him, and then right after we kill him, this person's angry that we killed the boss.
No.
And we're taking their like NPCs or their like people that they're trying to, their mobs that they're trying to fight, and we were literally just trying to take like I think a small bit towards the front. I think they're off in the back, and I was like, I don't even know how that boss got over here. Neither did Vertec. The only thing that came to mind was maybe this person who's a rogue triggered the boss and ran towards us without us realizing because we were fighting something else, which brought the boss to us and then started the fight. That's just a theoretics I have on how that situation went down.
The biggest thing is it was a rogue. They were going to try and solo the boss to try to get the drops. So they tagged it and ran out of the area so they'd be safe. And we picked it up because I didn't think I tagged him, but cool, awesome, he's coming out. Let's grab it.
Yeah.
And he was upset. So yeah, as we were fighting things, he would walk over into the middle and flag and unflag and flag and unflag, and then drop a mount and then unsummon it and drop a mount and unsummon it in the middle of our group.
And that whole time we're like telling our party members, some of who are our guild mates, but some of who are like random people, like, okay, stop attacking, let the mob kill his thing. I'm just gonna keep healing Vertec. Any healers, all heals on Vertec. Okay, the mount's gone, go back to attacking.
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to make his life difficult because when he was trying to mob train, I was having fun chaining him back and putting a wall in front of him. He almost got taken out by the mobs he was training a couple times.
Nice, yeah.
But then he summoned a whole group of other level like 24s and 25s to come down and fight us. So
like a level group of